I remember seeing North American Arms advertisements in, I want to say, Field and Stream magazines that I read in the school library in junior high. I didn't grow up with guns in the house, and something about the little 22 mini revolvers piqued my curiosity even back then. It solidified in my brain enough that when I became a gun owner and went through the normal early phase of wanting to buy every firearm in sight, that I had to grab one. After a quick search through NAA's catalog of 22 Magnum and 22 long rifle single-action revolvers, I settled on the Wasp model here, mainly because I thought it looked cool. It's okay to buy stuff because you think it looks cool, really. North American Arms has been around since 1972 and focuses almost exclusively on making mini revolvers and pocket pistols. They are based in Provo, Utah. Like most of NAA's mini revolvers, the Wasp has a 5-round capacity and is 5.13 inches long, 2.81 inches high, 1.06 inches wide at the cylinder, and has a 1 5/8 inches barrel. It weighs in at 6.5 ounces and is made entirely of stainless steel. The sighting system on the Wasp is pretty rudimentary, with a small bead on the vented rib like a shotgun, and a half-moon sight in the rear, which is just a notch cut into the frame that you really can't see unless the hammer is cocked back. It is, of course, a single-action revolver, and to load and unload this firearm, the cylinder must be removed from the frame, which is accomplished by removing this cylinder pin. This model comes as a standalone 22 Magnum, but this is the conversion model that also includes a 22 long rifle cylinder. The grips are rubber and have a nice pebbled texture to them. There is no trigger guard, so the trigger is exposed, and both the trigger and the hammer have a small amount of jimping on them. I've spent a pretty good deal of time shooting the Wasp, and it's a really fun gun to shoot, mainly just because it's so tiny and such an interesting piece from a mechanical perspective. I never did much with it beyond plinking at paper targets from no more than 7 yards. It's tough to get a solid read on accuracy because the sighting system is just really not that great. And that's not even a dig at NAA. I understand why they would want to go with as simple and low profile a rear sight as possible, just that it's not set up for anything close to precision work. My impression is that the gun was slightly less accurate with 22 long rifle than 22 Magnum, but even then, that's somewhat hard to quantify. The trigger is decent, and I like the way these small boot grips fit in my hand for what they are. You don't get a full grip, obviously, but it's enough to hang on to for a mouse gun. I purchased the Wasp more as a cool piece to plink with and look at, but I didn't rule out carrying it. I figured it could be a lightweight, deep carry piece to use as a last-ditch self-defense tool, and I still think that it technically could be used as that. Obviously, having any gun is better than having no gun when you need one, but I think there are much better options in this role out there, just in terms of ease of getting hits on target, not having to manage a single-action trigger, which I imagine is pretty difficult and also unsafe during an emergency, capacity, and reload speed. Even in rimfire calibers, something like an LCR in 22 or an LCP in 22 would strike me as a much better option in this role, as you get more capacity, faster and easier reloads, and a more defense-oriented trigger. Personally, I tend to not rely on anything less than an LCR and 38 Special with a 5-round speed strip as an EDC. To sum it up, the NAA Mini Revolver is really cool. Its design and mechanical function are just interesting and fun to use. Shooting rimfire cartridges in a small package is also pretty fun, but I personally don't think I'd rely on one for serious defensive use due to there being plenty of better options out there. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.